Hi, it's Thursday night, time for a whiskey review with me, Jason Debly. We're going to look at a Speyside Scotch whiskey that is not very common. The distillery is Glen Elgin. I got a bottle of Glen Elgin 12-year-old single malt Scotch from the Speyside region. I think around Moray, probably mispronouncing that. The alcohol by volume is 43%, which I always like because 43% kind of boosts up the complexity. So that's a nice sign. This is not well known. Glen Elgin is the key single malt. Got a little bit here. A friend of mine gave me this from work and wanted me to try it. He wasn't crazy about it, but wanted my opinion. So I'm going to give it to him and you simultaneously. Getting back to Glen Elgin. Glen Elgin is a distillery not well known, it's not famous, and probably before you watch this video you never heard of the distillery, even though it was founded back in 1898. It's owned by Diageo currently. Glen Elgin, you may not know it by name, but you may know it by taste, as it's a key core single malt making up the blended Scotch whiskey White Horse, which I think is a fabulous economy blended Scotch. The only problem with White Horse is finding the stuff. I coincidentally this past winter was in Cuba, in Veradero, and they had it at the resort, White Horse. Couldn't believe it. I was going to do a video on it, but in my resort, there was no internet. It was just it was Cuba. So I couldn't do a review. I guess I could have videotaped it, saved it, uploaded it, but I'm lazy and I was on vacation. Anyway, White Horse, great blended Scotch, as you know, and if you can find it, buy it. And this is the key malt in that wonderful blend. That being said, what else can I tell you before we get into this? The distillery, so the vast majority of its output goes to blended Scotch whiskies, White Horse, probably a few others, and it's not well advertised. Their only single malt release is this 12-year-old, which we are going to try. Cork stopper, always important to me. I don't have, and I've been sampling this over the last couple days, not a lot left. We're going to kill the bottle right here. Price point, not expensive. This was in Canada $78, $80 for a 12-year-old single malt. Not a bad price. On the nose, it is definitely, I'm picking up sherry notes, so it's telling me immediately that the wood management was some sherry casks, but of good quality, like just good aromas coming up. Toffee, oak, cherry. The nose is floral. It's pleasant, not offensive in any way. Good stuff. Let's move on to the palate. It's creamy. There is a real strong, in a good way, strawberry, raspberry note to it, which tells me there's some good sherry cask wood management making up the aging of this single malt. On the finish, I'm getting a bit of French roast or black coffee with a bit of, well, not black coffee because we're going to add some cream to it. Kind of like a French roast coffee, dark roast coffee, but with some cream in there. It's good. Dry rye bread, hint of Kimmel bread, hazelnut milk chocolate, mid palate, and by the finish it's drying. This whiskey starts out a bit sweet. It's got some body to it. Fruitcake. Oh, it's good. I really, really like this whiskey, and I'm impressed for the price. It's solid. It's a solid value for money play. I'm sure in the United States and elsewhere in the world it's a lot cheaper than what my friend paid. I didn't buy this bottle, he did. He paid about $80, bought it about a month ago, and I really like it. I'm impressed with Glen Elgin. Glen Elgin 12-year-old is a buy. A big thumbs up for the price. It's got a bit of complexity. You've got the oak, sherried oak cask is there, mid-palate towards the finish. You still taste the oak. There's a little bit of smoke. It's not overly smoky. It's a smooth dram. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Oban, but of a younger Oban, and but it's more oaky. I can't knock this at all. Really like a lot. Creamy, rich, almost to the dessert-like side of the spectrum. But there's some complexity there. And it's got an old school style to it. And I don't know how to express that. Some whiskeys taste a little too perfect, or they taste manufactured on a massive scale. Now this distillery can really pump out. Its capacity is about 1.7 million liters a year. Like, it can really pump out the malt whiskey. But this whiskey kind of tastes craft-like, and it tastes old school. Like, you make partner in a law firm and you get called into the wingback chair room with the dark burnished wood, or you've achieved something and you want to buy a bottle that's really kind of old school, something Winston Churchill would have in his library. This kind of speaks of that, and for that reason alone I would buy it. And I haven't added any water to this. I don't have any water nearby, but I would experiment with water. It's 43%, so. Thank you, friend, for tuning in. And next time I do a review, I don't even know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pick something up and go through my email. There's always people requesting stuff. I would like to review everything that people suggest, but I live not in a big metropolis, so the variety of whiskeys is not as ideal as it might be. But now with COVID finally gone, I'm going to start traveling again, and that will mean a greater variety. Thank you for tuning in.